Hello, my name's Andrew Brooks. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is all about Beatles compilation albums. Are they really necessary? Hello, and thank you for joining me once again on my YouTube channel. And as I said, in this episode, we're going to be looking at Beatles compilation albums. And are they really necessary? I don't think there's been another sort of video about them. So I thought now's the time to do it. But anyway, thank you very much for all the new subscribers. If you want to subscribe, just hit the little button down here. It's on throughout the entire video. And if there are any links that are going to pop up, if I refer to something and I say, oh, there's a link, it'll be up here somewhere. But I'll remind you of that nearer the time. Anyway, back to the subject in hand. Beatles compilation albums. Are they really necessary? Now, I was having a little chat with my good friend John Heaton the other day, and we got onto the subject of Beatles compilations. And I know John, as a rule, is not a big fan of compilation albums, you know, full stop, period. Any compilation from any band. And I can kind of see where he's coming from. You know, you really want to get into the band's music, then, you know, go for each of the albums, because then you get the full spectrum of all their music. However, I also can see the other side of it as, like, for example, I'm not a big Rolling Stones fan. For just as an example, and it's true, I'm not a big Rolling Stones fan. So for me to want to gauge their music, I might want to go with a compilation album just to see if I'm into it. Now, in these days of streaming and creating your own playlists, compilation albums really are, yeah, they're pointless, because all they are is someone suggesting to you, these are the songs that you should really listen to. If you're not really into that band, but you want to get a sort of an idea of what they're like, then, you know, buy this album and then you'll get a little bit of a taster for it. But obviously these days with Spotify, streaming services, etc., you can just go through and just pick tracks that you like. You know, if you've never heard of you know, any tracks by the Beatles, oh, amazing. And trust me, there are people out there who don't know who the Beatles are. I've met them. Yeah, and you know, you can just go and just try it and go, oh, I like that, add to my playlist. Don't like that one, ignore that one. Oh, I like that one, add to my playlist. So these days compilation albums are practically a dying thing. There's no real need for them. Has there ever been? Well, you know, as I said, there are cases for and cases against. So I thought, let's have a look at Beatles compilation albums one by one to see if they are really necessary. So going back to 1966, and bearing in mind I'm talking about mainly UK and maybe the old American thing, so anything in Australia and France and all that, you know, they had their own thing going on, so something I'm not going to get into. But anyway, 1966, we were presented with a collection of Beatles Oldies. There hadn't been a new Beatles album for, you know, a little while, and certainly hardly any singles had come out. So what better thing for EMI Parlophone to do, and the Beatles obviously, was to put all of the stuff that, you know, had been out before, some of it on singles, some of it B-sides, some of it on album tracks, put it together and add one new track unreleased anywhere else. So you had to buy it to get it back in 66, that is. And of course that track on here was Bad Boy. There's the back cover. I actually prefer the back cover to the front cover. Not a big fan of the sort of the 60s sort of drawing there. Yeah, pretty old hat, but certainly enjoy the back cover. And as you can see, there's the track list. And I've had a few comments of people saying, you rush holding things up, we can't see them. So I'm holding it up a little bit there, and as you can see up here somewhere it says Bad Boy, second track on track 2, on side 2. So that's collection of Beatles Oldies, and to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the first ever Beatles compilation album issued in the UK. There was no need for them, because, you know, the amount of records they were churning out at the time. Yeah, it wasn't until sort of, you know, they stopped touring. Sgt. Pepper was looming in 67, and there hadn't been anything prior to that for them to release. So there we are. I think Brian had something to do with it. So then pushing on. Again, we had nothing. Obviously, Sergeant Pepper, White Album, blah blah, all of that. And then America, the Americans got a compilation album which we didn't get until the 70s, 76, I believe it is. But the Americans got this, which was Hey Jude or Beatles Again or whatever you want to call it. And it's a mighty fine compilation. Again, it's filled up with stuff which maybe you hadn't got on album format before. Certainly some B-sides on there. Nothing new sort of per se apart from Hey Jude and Revolution. Certainly hadn't appeared on an album track there. I'm holding it up there. Now you may notice up here it's got an unusual number, and this is because this is actually a South African pressing. So it's pressed in the UK, hence it's got a PCSJ number there, 149, and this is actually from South Africa. And if you want to see the label, I'll happily get that up for you here. It's no different really to the sort of a standard 70s label, but there we are. Yeah, so this is a South African edition. I do have an American and I do have the British editions, but I just thought I'd show you something a little unusual there from South Africa. So yeah, this came out, what was it, 79 I think. So towards the end of the Beatles career as a band together. So this is probably the second compilation, or probably the first in the States, although bearing in mind you could argue that some of their albums that they hashed around with were compilations of their own, mixing singles and stuff. But certainly that's, to my knowledge, the first American compilation album. And as I say, we Brits did get that, but it wasn't until sort of later on in the 70s. And we'll come on to the other stuff that came out in the 70s in a second or two. So next up, we have the two biggies. Then these were issued, 72-ish, 73, something like that. And of course, I'm talking about the Red and the Blue album. These are on coloured vinyl, as you can see here. This is the red one, this is the blue one. And as John pointed out, it was great when I had a chat with him. It was great for them to actually get to use the get back cover to mimic the original there. So, and as John Heaton said to me, this is probably the only major contribution to the Beatles that Alan Klein actually did, because apparently it was him that kind of insisted that this picture was taken, although it was never used. As I say, these are coloured vinyl. I'll show you the vinyl if you wish. There we are. I love the blue one. Love the blue one. There it is. So, holding it up, giving you plenty of time to absorb the blueness. There we are. So so 72, 73. Now, for me, I can see why people would want to buy these these compilation albums, because it is, all your Beatles hits that you've known through the years. You've probably worn out the records, and so there's the inner sleeve there, inside the gatefold rather. So you've probably worn out the originals, wanted something new, obviously blue and red vinyl as well, so if you're into your coloured vinyls back then. So I can kind of see the attraction to these, because if you're new to the Beatles, they cover everything you want. John doesn't like them because he said, why not just play Rubber Soul? If someone's going to get into the Beatles, play them Rubber Soul. But no, John, I'm afraid, John Heaton, I can kind of see why people would buy these. And in fact, I'm trying to think now, my first Beatles album I ever bought was Sergeant Pepper's, shortly followed by this one. There you go. So I did actually buy them at the time, sort of when I got into them, which was sort of mid 70s, 76-ish. Looking at 76, funnily enough, we now come up with the next compilation album, and this time it's rock and roll music, and this came out in June 76 in the UK. From what I gather, John Lennon didn't really like the sleeve. He said he'd designed one for them, but they rejected that. But rock and roll music, I, I, I have played this in the last year once, and that's probably the first time in probably 20 years since I've played it. Um, and again, I can kind of see why people would want it if you're into your up tempo Beatles songs, things like that. But I don't know if we really need a whole double album dedicated to rock and roll music. In '76, you've got to remember the Beatles' contract with EMI was coming to an end. EMI were probably wanting to get as much stuff out as they possibly could get past the Beatles to earn some money before they lost them. And so, yeah, we had rock and roll music come out '76. '79, 3 years later, it was followed up by love songs. So sort of a polar opposite to rock and roll. You've now got a double album of love songs. Again, it's not something that I particularly enamored with, other than actually having that nice, fantastic gatefold sleeve image there. And something's just fell out, which I didn't even know I had. It's a capital booklet, love songs, and it's basically the lyrics. I mean, this just fell out of it. I didn't even know I had it in there, or I'd forgotten that it was in there. And it's just the lyrics to the love songs, which is kind of rather cool. Yeah, just trying to see. Yeah, 1977, Capitol Records. So this presumably appeared in the American copy of Love Songs. I'm pretty sure this is a British one. Yeah, this is a British one. So I must have put it in there at some point and totally forgot about it. So yeah, 77. We had Love Songs. I think I said 79 earlier. I'm correcting myself. 77. So a year after rock and roll, we then get the Love Songs album. Again, I've probably played it once in like 20 years, if that. It's not my sort of thing. A pointless, I think I can honestly say, other than the gatefold sleeve inside picture, a pointless issue, pointless release. Are people really who don't know the Beatles, are going to want to buy a Love Songs album by them? Probably not. Now, 79, the next two came out, or maybe 80 on the second one. I wasn't sure whether to include these in the compilation, because although they are compilations of a sort, they do have new material. So I was like, are they compilations or are they just new albums? I'm talking about Beatles rarities. So yeah, they have got stuff that has been out before. All of it has been out before, but just different versions of it. And the American one and the British one are totally different. They're totally different. So the British one has got I Call Your Name, and the only reason it's on there is because it was the B-side of Let It Be and has never appeared on on an album anywhere. So stand up against the Germans, I Want to Hold Your Hand and She Loves You, Celebdic. Part of me wants to say this isn't a compilation, it's just a new album. The other side of me goes, well, it is just a compilation of stuff that has been out before, because although not been issued in the UK, the German versions have been out before. So let me know what you think. I personally think I'm going to go compilation with this. Necessary? Completists, I would say, probably would be interested in this, because obviously, if you haven't got I Call Your Name, sorry, what am I talking about? I Call Your Name. I'm talking about You Know My Name, Look Up the Number. But sorry about that. Scrap all that I just said earlier. You Know My Name, Look Up the Number is on here, and it's the B-side, Let It Be. Not appeared on any album, so I can kind of see why people would want it. I'm going to go with, this is a one for the collectors. Let's say it like that. Yeah, you've got to have this if you want all of the Beatles stuff. And as I said, the American one, this is actually a Canadian pressing, I believe. I think you can tell by the raised photo on the front. This is actually sort of raised up, and so yeah, and it does say manufactured in Canada by Capitol on the back. So again, this is different because it's got some different tracks. on here, Sergeant Pepper in a Groove, which doesn't appear on the British one. That's because that was on the British Sergeant Pepper album. Again, you do get this fantastic butcher cover picture inside, so that's worth it for that, and some fantastic colour photos there. So again, I would say, yeah, it's got a very nice inner sleeve, some photos in as well. I would say that this is a new album and one for the collectors. Not everyone's going to want this unless you do collect and completists who want everything on that has ever come out on vinyl on an album. Next up, we have, and I'm going to take, excuse the noise, I'm going to undo the cellophane because I forgot to take it out before the video. How unprofessional. So we're now looking at, when was this one? October 1980. And for me, another totally pointless, just a pure money-making, money-grabbing record done by EMI, and that's Beatles Ballads. There we are. It's got the unused white album picture, whatever it was called, toy box or something like that. Nice photo in the back inside Paul's dome in the back garden there, glass dome. But do you need it? I would say no. You know, everything on here is available elsewhere. And are you, if you don't know the Beatles, are you going to buy a record by the Beatles called Ballads? Probably not. Again, the only good things are the photos, I would suggest. So this is a pure compilation and totally unnecessary. Another money-making scheme by EMI. Okay, moving on, we now come to this. Now, I have made a video about this fantastic box set. There you go, it is a box set, the Beatles box from Liverpool, and just about up here I think is probably a link now to my video where I go into this in a lot more depth, and I can explain to you why this is a compilation that I would heartily recommend for any Beatles person, and certainly a Beatles collector. So it comes, it's 8 LPs. There's the track list in there, and they all come in fantastic colour sleeves. And I'm not going to go into depth because just follow the link for the video. The reason why this is such a special box set here, it was only available mail order, is because it has lots of things. Yes, all these tracks have been out before, but a lot of them on here are different mixes that are, were issued in Germany, that never been issued here before. The amount of Beatles stuff that when it actually got sent out around the world was different to the UK album or single. This box set here certainly pulls together, not all, but a lot of the material from around the world and puts it all nicely into one box. And if you're going to buy a compilation, go with this one, because it has got practically every Beatles song in here, but it's got enough oddities and rarities to warrant buying it if you've already got all of the records, such as here. Get this one, because you're going to fill a few holes. And that's probably, I think, the point that John Heaton was making when I spoke to him, was compilations are good for filling holes. So such as this one, where they've got lots of different versions of tracks which you've already got. It's probably one of the few compilations that I think John actually likes. But I can see their point of view. It just plugs a little hole. Okay, now moving on. Another pointless release. The Beatles at the movies, or whatever it was called, some horrendous title. Real Music. That was it. I've just seen the title there up here. Real Music. This is a limited edition. I think it's yellow vinyl, if I remember rightly. Can't be bothered to get it out, but it is limited up there. It's numbered. Another totally pointless issue. Another money-making scheme. If you're gonna, if you want to hear the music from A Hard Day's Night, don't buy this, because it's got 4 tracks from it. Go and buy A Hard Day's Night album and hear the whole album. Same with Help and Yellow Sub and the like. Nice. It's got a nice booklet in there, and that's about it. Yeah, nice colour vinyl if you're into your vinyls. Now, stepping into a similar vein of rarities, this issue here of Past Masters. Now, this was used to complete the box set. When you bought the box set of all the albums, you could get it in like a CD format and vinyl format, and they came in those wooden black roller top boxes, and these were included in it because they complete the entire Beatles catalogue, to a point anyway. So it had all of the albums, but obviously didn't have all the singles. So on here you've got the singles and the B-sides, which didn't appear on UK albums. And I say UK because obviously other countries such as America, they made up their own albums with B-sides. So yeah, Past Masters 1 and 2. I would suggest if you're a completist and you've bought all of the albums and got nothing else, then you're probably going to need this just to fill up the gaps of the missing singles and the like. Yeah. And then we come on to the last Beatles compilation, which has been knocking around now for quite a few years. We're talking about the one which has all of the Beatles #1s on it, and they cheated slightly because some of these tracks weren't #1 here in the UK, so why is it on a UK album anyway? That's a different argument for a different video, maybe one with John and I. But Beatles 1, did we really need it? I'd say no. They missed a trick when they first issued it because it didn't come with the DVD of all the promo film clips. That's what they should have done first of all, and then people would have bought this DVD. This came out, and then years later, when one was reissued, it then came out with the appropriate videos to accompany it. Again, gatefold sleeve, so you're going to gain something in the middle. They're all right pictures. Yeah. Nothing special there. And then the inner sleeves have got, the picture sleeves from around the world of all the #1 singles. Do you really need it if you're not a serious collector? No, not at all. Yeah. For someone who's new to the Beatles, it's probably a good inner, I'd say, because not only can you get the videos to go with them, you get all of the hits. So yeah, I can kind of see why people would buy this one. That's the last compilation I'm going to show you. A close runner-up, though, I have to say, was Love. Although in the end I decided no, that's a totally new album because there's remixes in there, new sequences and things like that. So I went, no, that's a new album. So in my mind, the one album is the last ever Beatles compilation. Let me know what you think. Have I missed anything important about compilations? I can see both sides. I can see, they fill holes, and they have little nuggets in some of them that you don't get otherwise. Some have not nice photos. On the other hand, I can kind of see they're pretty pointless. You've bought all the albums once, unless you're a die-hard fan. Why would you buy them several times? But anyway, let me know what you think. I always read all the remarks, and I do reply to ones that I feel need a suitable response. As I say, please subscribe down here, and you'll hear about any new videos that are coming out. Probably up here by now is a couple of new videos for you to click on. Maybe not for you new, for if you've been a subscriber to the channel, but yeah, revisit them because they've been around for a while now, and you may have forgotten about them. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.